program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Great to be along with you this morning. I'll tell you what, I was ignoring this Lindsay Clancy case. I'm not always in all this true crime stuff. Every now and then a trial will captivate me, and I'll try to figure out exactly what's at play or what's going on. And then I start to see more and more content on Lindsay Clancy. And I start to realize that this case of a mother who self-admittedly killed her 3 children, young ones too, by wrapping weightlifting bands, those rubber bands around their necks and strangling them to death, that she has become the victim and the public has forgotten the actual victims, that being Lindsay Clancy's children. And then I realized something else very strange was happening. This case that everybody should be 100% lockstep in, that it is a travesty that a mother would find a way to kill her 3 children. Instead, it becomes a political lightning rod. Conservatives versus liberals. Common sense versus delusion and death. That's what the left has become. The party of delusion and death. Why has Lindsay Clancy become a martyr? Well, we know when it comes to the left, toxic masculinity is enemy number 1. Everything has to be the man's fault. And you see this now. These wacky women are now saying somehow the husband played a role in this. I don't believe the husband played a role in it. I haven't seen anything. There's been some interesting search traffic tied back to him. But beyond that, I don't see any correlation that he did it when she admits it. The defense admits it. The prosecution admits it. The judge sees it. The question now becomes, was she mentally ill when she did it, suffering from postpartum psychosis, or was she a cold-blooded killer? Now, I've been looking at this. I don't think there's any shadow of a doubt that the woman was crazy. But I've always said in order to go murder somebody, you got to be half crazy. So where does innocent by reason of insanity come into play on a case like this? It seems fairly premeditated. We'll get into all of this. But what really disturbs me is the left, hell-bent on defending Lindsay Clancy, blaming men, and I believe this stems from the abortion community, the pro-abortion community that thinks it's okay to cancel life, to kill babies in the womb up to 9 months, and now apparently it's okay to kill your kids if they're out of the womb. They're your kids. You do what you want with them. That is sick, man. Absolutely sick. So we'll get into all of this today. Before we do, I want you to remember my friends over at Heavy Barrel Shampoo. This is the shampoo I've been using. I mean, when you do this, literally 3 months ago, you could see my scalp more in here. Not so much anymore. This is Heavy Barrel Shampoo, literally making my hair thicker. It's amazing. All natural fragrances, so you don't have that chemical craziness going on inside here. Made in the USA, and I know that's important for many of you. This says man. Just look at the barrel, heavy barrel shampoo. Look at the barrel, the bottle. Made in the USA, for men, 2-in-1. So if you're on the go and you don't have time to condition your, and I don't. I just showered before this podcast. I went to the gym. I got back at, I'm Central Time. I got back at 10:45 Central Time. I still managed to jump in the shower and then come in and do the podcast 15 minutes later. I only need 1 shampoo, not 2, because it's a 2-in-1 deal. This stuff's great. HeavyBarrelShampoo.com. HeavyBarrelShampoo.com. Inside, pumpkin seed extract for stronger, thicker hair to purify and revitalize the scalp, and it really is working. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off. Promo code GRANT for 10% off. Again, HeavyBarrelShampoo.com. All right. With that, let's get the show started. Whoops.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Lindsay Clancy. Everybody knows that name. But I'm going to ask you, do you know the name of these 3 beautiful children? Most people don't. Most people don't at all, and that's a problem. Right? Look at those cute faces. Those faces right there, they were murdered by her and their mother, Cora, Dawson, and Callan. Cora, Dawson, and Callan. Say those names over and over again, because you'll hear Lindsay Clancy over and over again, but nobody remembers the names of the 3 little children that she killed. Instead, they want to blame the father. They want to blame society. They want you to feel sorry for Lindsay Clancy. Look, I've run some numbers on this. It looks like postpartum depression, that's when you get depressed, not dangerous. About 1 in 7 women suffer from postpartum depression. Postpartum psychosis, which is what they're claiming Lindsay Clancy suffered from, is about 1 in 1,000. Now, I will say there's a tragedy in all of this in the fact that Lindsay Clancy's loved ones failed her. She was talking about hearing voices in her head. She was talking about how she wanted to harm her children. She checks her in for treatment. They check herself out of inpatient treatment. The husband gave up a lot, though, by the way. The husband goes to work from home. He comes out of the office, stays at home because he was so concerned about her and the children. So I don't think this was a case of, oh, he just let her flounder. But she sent him off on errands. It seemed to me a setup job. And yet, I think the most surprising thing for me, I mean, it's not surprising when I go back and look at it, but it's surprising now when I think about the left and their lunacy and how they have made Lindsay Clancy a martyr for women. Okay? Thousands of supporters portray her as a victim and the face of postpartum mental illness. She's not a victim. Okay? She may be certifiably crazy. And if the jury comes back with that determination, I'm fine with it. Either way, she will go away forever. She will not be out of a mental institution, or she will not be out of prison. I don't dispute the fact that this woman was crazy. I don't. The question was, did she know enough to differentiate right from wrong? That's the question the jury's going to have to come up with.
And another thing about this Lindsay Clancy case,
and I want you to listen to these lunatics.
that is bringing up the rage within me that is like generational at this point, is the fucking men who think that they can come in here, take up fucking space, and speak on things they don't fucking know anything about. Y'all need to learn when to shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down.
This is, again, another example of someone I would never, ever want to be married to. These liberal white women are toxic. They are dangerous. They're the greatest threat to America. I don't say that as a joke. I say that legitimate, as legitimate can be. The white liberal woman today may be the greatest threat to American life that we've ever seen. A terrorist can kill a few people. The white liberal woman is killing tens of thousands of babies every year. We know that. And they're responsible for the destruction of the American household. These people are dangerous. So now imagine being married to this, telling a man to we can't speak on this. Come on.
You have no idea what fucking postpartum depression is. Calling it baby blues, you motherfuckers. Just admit that not every fucking room wants to actually hear your fucking opinion. Let the women cook. And as a matter of fact, at this point, go call all the women in your family and tell them that you're fucking sorry. Because I know damn well that you are a terrible fucking partner.
I know damn well you're a terrible partner. I'd be surprised if she even has a partner. That is one angry see you next Tuesday. Okay? For those of you at home, figure out what see you next Tuesday means. I'm sorry, but I don't know how else to explain it. I know that's harsh, but it's true.
Definitely qualified to talk about men's issues. Like, is male pattern baldness actually that big of a deal? Like, maybe if you took better care of your hair. Like, you're letting yourself go. Low testosterone, oh my god. Like, you're just fat and lazy. Why aren't you 6 foot tall? Maybe if you tried diet and exercise, if you tried harder, you could be taller. And don't give me that excuse.
She's talking about being fat and in shape. My Lord. Look at this woman. How about you put some makeup on, brush your hair for a change instead of rolling out of bed and going straight to the pancakes?
Of erectile dysfunction, you're just too fucking lazy to get it up. And before the pick-me's come for me, you also shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down, you fucking traitors. How dare you? When it comes to women's issues, pick-me's and men have the right to remain silent. Because we don't fucking care about your goddamn opinion. That's how we got here in the first fucking place. Shut up and let us fix the problem, like we always fucking do.
No, you don't. There are lots of women who can fix the problem. Okay? Lots of men who can fix the problem. Lots of women who can fix the problem. There's lots that can't on both sides. It's a stupid comment, quite frankly. Mountain Nug says, I'll never be 6 foot tall no matter what I eat. Well, I won't either. 5'9.25" here. I think that was her point, though, of her little rant there. Shelly Rose, our captain, says, what a nasty person. 100%. What are pick-me's? Are pick-me's like pretty girls who are saying around, saying pick me, pick me? Is that what a pick-me is? Is that what you don't like? Women put together that are trying to attract a decent man? I don't know. I think that's what she's talking about. So again, these people are certifiably cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. This apparently is a psychologist, okay? Imagine going to see this woman.
The Lindsay Clancy trial is going to be one of the most significant trials of your lifetime. We're all experiencing something completely unprecedented. Never before have we seen so many mothers and women rally behind somebody who confessed to killing her 3 children.
If she stopped there, I'd agree with her. They rallied around her and made her a victim? Well, I guess she should rally around her. I don't agree with her. What am I saying? I don't agree with her. She confessed to killing 3 children. She gets worse, though, is my point on this.
And it is not because we cannot hold women accountable. Many of us see ourselves in Lindsay. Many of us know that we could have been only one step away from doing some of those horrific things.
What? Are you kidding me? How many women out there were one step away from doing those horrific things? If this is such a common theme, we would see these Lindsay Clancy type trials every week in America. Babies are born every day across this country. And we don't have mothers in great numbers going out there and killing children. And the ones that do live on for years. Andrea Yates, remember that? These cases live on for years. We remember these cases of the mother who drowned her kids or strangled her kids. It's not happening every week. So what are you talking about? We could be Lindsay Clancy. No, you couldn't. Because you know right from wrong. Yes, depression, I've always gotten in trouble for this. Because I say depression is being weak-minded. Medical determination says something else. I say drug addiction is being weak-minded. If you're depressed, you got to pull yourself up. You got to get out of bed. You got to move forward, and you got to do it for you and your family. You have to understand your family is depending on you. If you can't move, in my opinion, that's weak-minded. Now, my critics will say I've never experienced it. Probably not. But I'll tell you this. If I did, I would think if my son needs me, I'm pushing forward. Alcoholism. Don't give me this bullshit that it's a disease. If you're an alcoholic and it's ruining your life and your career, you have to find a way to stop. God gives you free will. I understand you may be more prone to addiction than somebody else. So what? Cry me a freaking river. You know what? My poor kid, he's working very hard to get in shape, but he got the fat gene. He's going to have to work really hard to keep weight off. I don't have to work that hard at it. I work because the older you get, the harder it becomes, but I don't have to work that hard. He's going to have to work hard. So if he gets super fat, Do we say, oh, well, you just got the gene. It's a disease. Sorry. That's what the left would say. Blame it on somebody else but yourself. No, instead, my kid's in the gym doing the best he can possibly do, and he's losing weight, and we're working with him, and I'm proud of him in a big way because it's mental toughness in order to do this. I think the same thing goes for addiction and for depression. I know a lot of people get mad at me when I say that. They don't like it, especially people who've suffered from alcoholism. Give me a break. I honestly believe that even if I went off the deep end with alcohol, fixed the problem, that I could have one drink here or there and not fall back into it. But people will say I'm crazy for that. Do I dare play more of her?
Because we experienced significant mental health issues after one of our children was born. And many of us know just how dark some of those thoughts get. So yeah, this is going to be one of the most significant trials of your lifetime.
Well, no, it's not. It's a significant trial because those children deserve justice. I'm surprised a plea deal wasn't made here, where maybe life without the possibility of getting out of a mental institution and going in. I mean, look, there's no doubt she was nuts. Okay? I'm going to play for you a clip of a psychologist. I don't know if she's a psychologist. I think she's actually the faith pastor when she was Lindsay Clancy after the murder was talking to her. And you can listen to her and you tell me if you think Lindsay Clancy is nuts or not. But before we get into that, patriotmobile.com/Grant. You know, James Tallarico just came out, the guy running for Senate in Texas, and said, if you're a Christian nationalist, you're a racist. He totally doesn't understand what Christian nationalism is. This is how great Patriot Mobile is. They saw me talking about this, so they said, hey, we've got our faith leader at Patriot Mobile. They actually have a faith division at Patriot Mobile. He would love to come on and talk about it. So he's going to come on my show tonight, David Blease, and talk about what Christian nationalism really is and how what our founders' vision was for America is based in Christian nationalism. That's a company I want to be associated with. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code Grant for a free month service. That's the kind of things Patriot Mobile does. Now, don't forget, you can choose what network you want to be on, the big three. 100% U.S.-based customer service. Switching is easy. It takes just minutes. You use the promo code Grant. You get a free month service, and you know you're with a company that really loves America and is doing something about it. That's even more important. Okay, so Lindsay Clancy has sparked the idea that this is now conservatives versus liberals, blue hairs versus short hairs, okay? Makeup versus no. That's what it seems like. The wine moms have coming out. I'm surprised they're not drunk outside the courthouse. We all know the wine mom. They walk around in yoga pants. They've never been to a gym in their life. They drink wine every night, and now they're screaming and yelling about how Lindsay Clancy's a victim. I have no tolerance for that. So what do? They blame the man with absolutely no evidence, saying that the husband not only help engage in the killings, but participate in them. They're shifting responsibility to him. The pressures of marriage and motherhood just got too great. She snapped. We need compassion for her. Guess what? Life's pressures are freaking hard. I'm sure every single one of you out there has a pressure right now in your life that you're dealing with. I've said this. Life is filled with ups and downs, highs and lows. Sometimes you go through the highs. Don't take them too seriously because the lows are going to come. But when the lows come, don't take those too seriously either because the highs will be back. Life is a series of ebbs and flows, and it's stressful. And everybody's stress is relative to their own life. You don't get a pass for killing your 3 children because you succumbed to stress or depression. You don't get a pass on that. I'm sorry. You don't. Now, do you want to know whether or not this woman was crazy, Lindsay Clancy? This is one of the pastors that was counseling her after the children had died, had been murdered.
And so when I went in on Tuesday the 31st, she said to me as I held her hand to comfort her, I am so glad my children are safe.
Was there any other conversation that you had with her?
I replied theologically to Lindsay, and I said, Lindsay, your children are safe. They're safe in heaven with God. And I held her hand throughout that conversation, and we prayed for them.
Did she make any other statements to you?
She did. She alluded to having heard a voice. And the voice, according to Lindsay, told her that if she did not follow the command, neither she nor her children would be safe.
And did she indicate whether it was a male voice, a female voice, loud, soft?
She alluded to the fact that it was a male voice and it was persistent.
Any further conversation that you recall about that, not about general things,
That came up several times. I visited Lindsay minimally 14 times while she was hospitalized at the Brigham, and the voice conversation came up several times during several of our visits.
Do you believe that Lindsay Clancy actually heard voices that told her to do this? The way I break this down in my mind is I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, she heard voices. But does that mean you follow the voices? If someone tells me to jump off a bridge, as I tell my son, it doesn't mean you go jump off a bridge. I mean, you don't succumb to pressure of a strange voice. Now, I understand you're going through a psychotic event, but you have to have the wherewithal that if something like that happens, you're going to immediately call your husband and say, I need help. Instead, she sent her husband on an errand. And by the way, the husband's alibi is backed up by surveillance video and the time of death. There was no way he was at the house when the kids died. No way. They say, oh, well, he sold the house and he got remarried. What is he supposed to do? Hang around with this woman? I mean, we're years later after this. You're going to hang around? You're going to keep the house? Why would you keep the house? And go back into it where your 3 children were murdered? Oh, but he sold the house and he got married to somebody else. God bless him. I don't blame him. So now it's gotten so bad that literally women are using this case. See, they hate men so much. And I'm telling you, this has to do with the no regard for human life. We live in an abortion culture now, where they somehow validate abortion by propping up the woman and make sure we're giving the woman's right to do what she wants in life and not be hindered by a child. Why wasn't she more responsible about her birth control before having to make this decision? So we live in an abortion culture where killing babies is fine up till 9 months. Now apparently you can kill your kids outside of the womb. They're your kids. Do with them what you want. This is sick thinking. The war on men is very real. Men, you don't get a right to say or even weigh in on this, according to the liberal woman. And now this woman says she's going to use this as a litmus test when she's on dates with men. She's not going to ever date me, I'll tell you that much. Plus, I got a very special lady friend.
My new vetting process for if I want to date a man, first date question I'm always going to be asking him is, do you think that Lindsay Clancy should go to jail for what she did? And if that man says yes, I'm getting up and walking out right then and there. I cannot spend the rest of my life with someone who thinks that that woman is guilty and deserves jail.
First off, your inability to even reason or see the other side. If my very special lady friend comes to me and says, you know what? I think she should be in a mental institution, and I'm hell-bent on her going to jail, I can see the side of the mental institution. All right, I can see there is evidence that she was psychotic. She'd been checking herself and she'd had problems for a long time, which is why I think like her family let her down and didn't protect these children. So there's evidence there. I could see that other side. I'm not going to just throw you to the curb. Even if she came to me and says, you know what? I think they should let her out after they cure her of her depression and all right, I would totally disagree with that, but I'm not throwing her to the curb on that. Now, if my very special lady friend came to me and says, I think abortion is fine up until 9 months, then I'm throwing her to the curb. Because fundamental things that we can't agree on, it's not going to work. Like politics, there's no way I could ever date a liberal woman. But I can disagree whether I like the fair tax or the flat tax or whether Lindsay Clancy should go to prison or a mental institution. You can't have disagreements like that. Of course, life is filled with disagreements. These people are crazy. Crazy. So not everyone is crazy, though. My friends over at Just the News, John Solomon and Amanda Head, had this woman on who I believe actually had some common sense. And I wanted to play it for you because the media isn't giving you this. The media is only giving you the Lindsay Clancy supporters.
I don't think you're being way too callous at all. I think you're being a little too sympathetic to Lindsay Clancy, I gotta say. She did have these mental health issues, but she had an immense amount of support. And this is something that is being lost on these wine moms who are showing up outside the court to advocate for a woman who, yes, has confessed to killing her children and claims she was crazy when she did it. She instructed her husband to go out and run errands. She took the time while he was out of the house to undertake this unholy, horrific act and then to try and take her own life. She was on an exorbitant number of psychiatric medications, and the only reason for that is because she had an exorbitant number of psychiatric appointments and doctors and people looking after her. Her in-laws were close to her. She was close to her parents. She even had a nanny up until 2022 when her third child was born, and she had the option of leaving her job as a nurse. She did like maternity and stuff. She had the option of leaving her career behind and staying home with her kids. She chose that, and so they let the nanny go. The husband worked from home. She had a lot of support. I think what she also had were unrealistic expectations about what her life should be as the mother of 3 children. And even some pictures have been coming out of the crime scene. There was a little travel wine glass on the side of her bed, like one of those little wine cups, the little tumbler ones, you know, and it said because kids on it. And that was photographed next to this bloody knife from the crime scene. So I think that, sure, there are mental health struggles. People do have difficulties, but this is a case where she definitely should have known better. I think there's a lot of argument to suggest that this was definitely premeditated, and she had support, right? I mean, maybe she felt alone, but I think that too was an illusion.
All right, interesting. Libby Emmons is the editor-in-chief at the Post-Millennial. It's a great outlet. That she says she has lots of support. Well, she did have lots of support and that people were around her, but they did nothing to protect the children. I mean, in the end, if you want to blame somebody, you can blame everybody around her that let her be alone with children. This woman should not have been alone with children, whether she was mentally ill or planning the murder and plotting the murder. There was evidence that she was doing this. There were warning signs. So there were some trial highlights that I thought I would go through here. I'm going to go through this trial highlights because it sums up the whole case pretty well. I hope you're interested in this. You know, I debated not doing this today, but since everybody was talking about it, I figured we ought to do something on it. And it seemed like it was turning into a war on men trial.
Yellow exercise band found with Dawson. Black exercise band found with Cora. And then the blue exercise band found with Callan. And when you saw Lindsay on the ground there under the window, which direction was her body facing?
Her head was closer to the house. Her feet were away from the house.
Okay. And did you go to her?
Yeah.
And did you observe any injuries?
Yes.
And what did you see?
She had deep cuts on her wrists, and she had a red line across her neck. I wasn't sure what it was at first, but she cut her neck.
Did you say anything to Lindsay when you found her in that state?
Yeah, I said, what happened?
And what was her response?
She said I tried to kill myself.
Did you ask her anything else?
I said, where are the kids?
And what was her response?
She said they're in the basement.
Upon his observation of us, myself and Officer Hall, he proceeded to head in our direction, leaving that room. And at that point, he looked up and he screamed, "She killed the fucking kids." Yeah, so when they removed Cora, myself and Officer Cahill went back upstairs where I encountered Mr. Clancy in the kitchen.
And what was his demeanor in the kitchen?
He was still frantic, kind of in shock, still screaming and losing himself. And I think at that point, I don't know, one of us requested that we get an ambulance for him as well.
Did anyone ever tell you not to leave your kids alone with Lindsay?
No.
In January of 2023, did Lindsay ever tell you that she wanted to harm your children?
No.
Did she ever tell you she was going to kill your children?
No.
Did you receive, a few days after this happened, did you receive a phone call from the defendant while she was at Brigham and Women's Hospital?
I think it was like a week or so after, yeah.
And what did the defendant say at that time about what had happened with the children?
She didn't talk about our kids. She talked about what she went through.
And what did she say about what she went through?
She said she heard a man's voice telling her that if she didn't do it now, she would lose her chance or something like that.
Did she mention the children at all during that call?
I don't think so. I mean, not directly.
Had she ever mentioned psychosis to you before?
No, I didn't know what psychosis was until after this happened.
Did she ever tell you she was hearing a man's voice before?
No.
So it gives you a good little overview of some of the things that's happened in the trial, who put that video together with the police. You can see that he was frantic. I have read that they played the audio tape of the 911 call in court. They would not allow it to be released to the public because of how heinous and distraught he was on the call. There's no way this guy had anything to do with it. I'm telling you right now, there's no way. But these leftist lunatics want you to believe that he did. We'll continue to follow this story. And it's amazing, really, to think that the left has turned this into a war against men, a war for aborting your own kids, killing them. They call unalived. They don't even say murder. They were unalived or something. This is what I've been seeing all over online. It's the most ridiculous term I've ever heard. So again, delusion and death. It's the party of the Democrats. That's what the party is. The Democrats are the party of delusion and death. All right. Hey, lostsoldier.com. This project, I am so excited about it. I am so excited about it. Lostsoldier.com, lostsoldier.com. This is a fabulous project that is oil and gas related, specifically gas, 40,000 acres in Wyoming's Bison Basin. That is a very, very, well, what they're saying is it is stacked formations of high pressure natural gas. They've drilled 2 wells. 3rd well is set to go in very soon. The pipeline is already on site. The pipe is there. Now the pipe just has to be built. The pipeline, 5-mile line to the main pipeline. There's some strategic partnerships that are being worked on to increase the funding here. And I think this is poised for takeoff. I've invested in a unit of Lost Soldier. So if you're an accredited investor, go to lostsoldier.com. That's lostsoldier.com. And talk to the team. Fill out the form. They'll get right back to you. And they'll lay everything out for you. And the prospect looks good. And you got to make your own decision. Everything has risk. But the tax advantages here, there's stock ownership, there's royalties and overriding royalties. I look at oil and gas plays as trying to create generational wealth. And I think that is what we need to do. Create generational wealth. Who doesn't? LostSoldier.com, LostSoldier.com. All right, everybody's freaking out in the chat. Death threat to you here. The Sadie Nicole, whoever the hell that is, who knows? That's threatening me. You know how many times I've been threatened? So, Shelly, our captain, here's the thing. I don't want you to get upset about it. If they keep going, you can kick that. Threats of violence we don't want in the room. I normally don't kick anybody out of the room. They can say anything they want, except if they start saying crazy stuff. But my line to all of the online death threat people is the door's unlocked. I'll leave the light on for you. Okay? I'm the wrong guy you want to come for. I'll just say that. So don't worry too much about it, Captain Shelley. And don't engage with them. We can bump them. Captain Shelley, if you want to bump them, bump them. All right, as we move on here. Who saw the story of Enes Kanter Freedom at the WNBA game? I love what he is doing. So he's at the WNBA game, and he's wearing a shirt that says "woman." We've got pictures of it. You'll be able to see it here. Let me play the interaction. Adult woman, adult human, it says on his shirt. He's at the Indiana Fever game versus, I can't remember what team they were playing. I don't know any of these teams. But this other player, Cloud, who seems to be a loudmouth, didn't like his shirt. And he was cheering for Sophie Cunningham, my favorite WNBA player of all time. Not only because she's super cute, but because she is just the most bubbly, fun woman I've ever seen. I mean, she really is. And she's a voice of freedom. So he's cheering for her. She says something to him like, she ain't going to sleep with you. That upsets him. This ensues.
And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena. After Natasha Cloud got that bucket, she wanted her voice heard.
Please, security, take him out.
Talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Enes Kanter in the building today. And he has voiced how he's felt about the situation. Natasha Cloud voiced.
Look at the faces on these players. They're so confused because they don't know what to do. Half of them are all lesbians. The other half may be transgender in himself. I'll get to that in a moment because I actually think there may be some transgender players already in the WNBA. This is the reason why they can't define what a woman is, because it would mean kicking them out. That's an issue. But Enes Kanter Freedom gets kicked out for defending women, which is all he was doing. This is him walking in. And you'll hear how crazy they get when he walks in to the arena.
Bitch ass nigga. Bitch ass out of Chicago. I'm not touching him. I'm just saying, fuck you, bitch. You was sorry in the league. You was sorry in the league. Sorry ass. You was sorry in the league.
You was sorry in the league. The guy who's saying that, does he really, really care? Or is it just that he hates Trump? They hate conservatives, and so they're just going to slam anybody who's not like them.
You was sorry in the league. You wouldn't even do good in this league. You sorry ass. Sorry. No, you ain't good. You ain't good here. You ain't good here. You got the police with you. Man, you a kid.
So there you go. So he's accosted going in. It's not the worst of the worst, but it is pretty funny. So, which brings me to the idea that are they transgender men or women? I never know how to say this. Are there already transgenders playing in the NBA, meaning men pretending to be women? Is that a transgender woman or is that a transgender man? I don't know. I get confused. Royce White, former NBA player, he came on my Real America's Voice show, and he made a declaration.
If I'm being honest, I think their hesitancy to clearly define what a woman is out of a bit of fear that they may have some players who were assigned male at birth or may have some biological differences in the vast majority of the players. If I'm being honest, I think that may be a part of the hesitancy, and I think they may go to great lengths to protect that secret. And if that means that they have to keep me and Enos out of the league and even pay a hefty settlement for their violation of our civil rights and their exclusion, they may do so. That wouldn't surprise me, actually.
So, this is interesting. So your assessment, similar to mine, I've made the claim that I think there may be so-called transgender men playing in this league already. You care to name any names, Royce?
There's a few that come to the top of my mind, but I can't be sure. You know, we want to trust but verify. I can't verify, so I won't say.
Well, once you get into the locker room, you'll be able to verify it pretty damn easily. That's for sure. I didn't even get a laugh out of it. I thought that was the funniest line. I said, Andrew, did he smile? And it got cut. This clip got cut off before. You will be able to figure it out once you're in the locker room, though. Oh, my gosh. So how many men are going to sign up to play in the WNBA if they don't do something about this? Well, Enos said he's talked to some WNBA players.
Now listen to me very carefully. So far, I have spoken with 2 former NBA players, 3 G League players, and 3 European players. They have all said that if the WNBA won't change the rules, we are ready to join the movements and we are considering coming out as women and putting our names in the 2027 WNBA draft. Hear me out. The NBA G League pays players $45,000 a year, while the WNBA top players earn $1.4 million. Those men could earn an extra $1,355,000 a year by just identifying as women. Rules are rules.
Rules are rules. He posted a picture of himself. You know, he's the one who got kicked out of the game the other night. He posted a picture of himself by the women's bathroom, smiling with a thumbs up. Rules are rules. Now, he didn't go in because he, like Royce White, is making a point that it isn't fair. It's not even close to being fair. But if they're not going to make the rules, they're not going to decide what a woman is, well, then they have to let them play. And so I support this quest of theirs because they're really doing a great job calling attention to all of that. All right. We got economic sanctions coming out the wazoo lately. So today they're calling it Economic D-Day against Iran. Scott Bessent is set to hold a press conference today. That'll be interesting to hear what he has to say about this. But apparently the sanctions, and they're going to go after countries that do any business with Iran. And I think that's going to include Russia and China, which I hope this doesn't create too big a problem with those two nations. I actually don't want any more problems with China. Our economies, sadly, are too intertwined. I don't want China controlling our economy, but I don't want it upending it either. So we'll see how this plays out. The economic sanctions ultimately will cripple Iran. Karg Island, that's where all the oil comes out of Karg, was sitting completely dead the last 2 days. No oil whatsoever coming out of Karg Island. 18 tankers sitting offshore of Iran can't get in to get oil because of that naval blockade. That will work. They'll have no money to spend on this war. So President Trump, that's working. Now, the other war that's going on is a trade war with Canada. Trump's set to enact 50% tariffs on Canadian goods. Why? Because Canada has tried to be retaliatory against the United States. Retaliatory tariffs typically don't work, not against the United States. We're too big a powerhouse. They will lose this battle. As one person said, they want all the trappings of being a state, without actually being a state. Doesn't work like that. This is Duffy, our transportation secretary, on over the weekend on Fox.
We're great trading partners, right? But Canada gets the benefit of trading with the U.S. way more than the U.S. gets the benefit of trading with Canada. It's a country that doesn't have a military. It has a country that has a single-payer healthcare system that's failing. They have record-high euthanasia rates. And so to think that they're going to go to war with Donald Trump and actually win that war with the U.S., I think it's foolish on their part. And again, I think what the president's trying to do with Jamison Greer, who, by the way, has done an amazing job representing the president and America, is we want fairness for the American worker. And some of our best friends are the worst offenders that treat us the worst. And the fact that we provide their security for them and they take advantage of us, I think President Trump was the first one to go, you know what, that's not the kind of relationship that friends should have. And so the president's calling them out. I think you're going to see Mark Carney come to the table very, very quickly because it's going to be devastating for his country.
Well, nothing on the table as far as talks are concerned. A lot of finger pointing.
Right.
So we'll keep tracking that. I want to get to you with a couple news stories, too.
All right, so I'm with him on that. Canada is becoming a failing nation. When you look at the single-payer health care, it doesn't work. If you're Canadian, you're screwed if you need surgery. This is Jamison Greer. He's in charge of President Trump's trade policy. This is him.
We're moving forward with measures that respond to Canadian retaliation. Remember, as President Trump has introduced a trade policy to reshore American production and protect American jobs, 2 countries have retaliated against the United States, the People's Republic of China and Canada.
That's pretty amazing when they're supposed to be a great ally of ours. I don't even think they have a military. Like, they need the United States so much. If there was an invasion of North America, I don't even think Canada can help. So this is the Canadian ambassador, United States ambassador to Canada.
You guys can do what you want, okay? But if you think that you're going to bring in Chinese folks, manufacturers, right, into Canada as a launching pad to go into the United States of America, I would suggest that who's ever thinking that rethink their strategy, because we're not letting those things into the U.S.
So this is what he's talking about, that they want to take advantage of us by having China bring all their cars, ship them into Canada, and then somehow make an end run around President Trump's policies of no Chinese cars coming in the United States. Just as we move them through Canada, then no big deal. What are they going to do? They're going to relabel them as Canadian goods? Maybe. You never know. I mean, they'll try to find a loophole for everything. So I'm all for these tariffs against Canada. I'm done with these nations taking advantage of the United States. It's too much. And quite frankly, it's getting old. This, I believe, is one of Canada's top businessmen. His name is Ian Lee. He's currently works at one of the business schools, but he's well known in Canada.
Sir, at the Sprott School of Business at Carleton University, joining us this morning from Toronto. Ian, so much reaction to this, but I want to start first with Prime Minister Carney saying he's going to match that 50% tariff dollar for dollar. What do you make of his approach?
Well, look, I understand the political reasoning and the political logic. Canadians are very, very angry. It's showing in the polls. I understand that. Having said that, retaliatory tariffs have been studied extensively over many, many years, decades. And the first thing to note is the retaliatory tariffs will fall on Canadians. They will fall on American goods coming into Canada, but they are paid by Canadian businesses, Canadian importers, and ultimately passed on through the cost of the goods and services to Canadians. And very quickly, Marianne, the FAO in Ontario, the Financial Accountability Office, sort of a PBO of Ontario, found that it was going to drive up prices for Canadians in Ontario. It was going to drive up unemployment, and there were going to be increased bankruptcies. So this is not going to be a free lunch for Canadians. This is going to be very costly. Understood the reasons, but it's still going to be very costly for.
All right. So, of course, it's going to be costly for Canada. Look, the United States doesn't need Canada. There's some things we have that come in, but we can handle it on our own. Timber, some things like this. But by and large, Canada needs American goods. Canada just doesn't have the ability to produce what it needs. So Trump is sending a message to the world. Don't mess with the United States. We'll treat you well if you treat us well. We're tired of being the world's policeman. We're tired of being the world's protector. We're tired of being the world's sugar daddy. Those days are over. All right. Folks, the Wellness Company, twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. They are now getting involved in peptides. They've got daily supplements, immune defense, which is great, a daily throat spray. You've got the parasite cleanse. You've got the emergency medical kits. This is a company that's putting medical freedom back in your hands. Go to twc.health/grant. Peruse the website. Start getting your supplements there rather than at the big box stores like CVS or Walmart. One, these are all sourced and fabulous products that have been tested. twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT, and I'll remind you, our biggest seller on this show is Ultimate Spike Detox. This helps get the spike protein out of your system. That's important. This is a daily supplement, and it is great for your immune health as well. twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us today. Great having you along. We'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight. We got a big show to talk about. I'm going to do a little more Lindsay Clancy, I think, tonight on the show, and I hope to see you there. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time on Real America's Voice. You can find it in so many places: Roku, Pluto, etc. Don't sweat about the other crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs individual. I'll get those on Twitter a lot too. I haven't seen any in here in a long time, but if they weren't coming in here, it would mean we weren't doing our job. So, that's it. I appreciate it. Yeah, the volume up and down is because some of the clips, it's only on the clips. I know it's my fault. It's the way they come across when I download them. I'm seeing your thing there. Apologize about that. All right, folks, we will see you soon. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys are fabulous.